Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at the new event, as well as a deck to play in the new event. Now, the new event is the X0 or Extra Deck 0 event, which basically says you can't use any cards in your extra, which is boring, in my mind. One of the extra deck, I think, is one of the coolest mechanics within Yu-Gi-Oh! So taking it away makes the game pretty bland. Especially with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards being so centered around the extra deck, makes the decks a lot more lackluster. However, I think there is one deck, actually there's two decks, but we're going to focus on this one, that is very fun without the extra deck. And that is, well, more specifically with this event, that's Megalith. They also nerfed a whole bunch of decks that would be good because they really want you to play Shining Sark, and that's it. Smile. So things like Labyrinth, Flu, and Voiceless Voice are all nerfed. But that's okay, because at the very least we can play Megalith. Now, Megalith is a very cool ritual archetype that utilizes its ritual monsters as ritual spells as well, which is very, very cool. And it's honestly a very fun deck. So here's the deck list real quick, and we're just going to go through the overall ideas here. We have Pensaplume, which just reveals a ritual to special summon it as well as another incantation. And the incantation you're summoning is Talismandra, because Talismandra on summon adds a ritual monster from deck to hand. Pretty simple. We're also playing one Manju, and that is it for our non-ritual monster. Manju, however, can be searched off of a Benten, so that's why we're playing that. We're also playing 3 apiece of Benten because it just is like the best tribute, just chain block and search additional cards and etc, etc. Very, very useful. As for the rest of the cards, we are playing 2 apiece of Full. Full is a card that says on ritual summon it, you could target a ritual monster in the grave, add it to the hand, and then this card becomes that level. And during the main phase, you can activate this effect at quick effect speed to ritual summon a monster from hand or deck. Now, notably, what this does is it allows you to summon things like Bethor, Aeritron, or even Ophiel and Haggith, which are very, very useful. They all have fantastic effects, which we'll get into. We're also playing 3 apiece of Ophiel, which searches a monster on ritual summon, and during the main phase, once per turn, you can you can ritual summon it using this card. So, pretty solid. We also have Haggith, which searches a spell trap, and then can also ritual summon it similarly as Ophiel. Now, notably, not a once per turn on the searches. However, a once per turn on the ritual summoning. So keep that in mind. You can only use 1 Haggith and 1 Ophiel to ritual summon, but they both get searches anytime they are summoned, which is great. We're also running 2 Phaleg as well, which just boosts your monsters incredibly high. 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in grave, and that's every monster, which is crazy. On top of that, you can also just discard it in order to ritual summon a Megalith monster. We also have Bethor, which has a similar effect, as well as Aeritron, which is a quick effect version of that during the main phase. So they all have that ritual summon effect. However, Bethor on summon can pop cards up to the number of different ritual monster names in grave that your opponent controls. It targets, it destroys, it's fantastic, it's a board wipe. You can get up to like 7 names, I believe. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, sorry, I miscounted. You can get 8 different names technically on the summon of Bethor, which could be 8 possible pops, which is kind of crazy, but for the most part, you don't need 8. It came up once where I needed like 5, which was pretty good, but other than that, insane. Then we have Aeritron, which just is a quick effect ritual summon, which is great, again, because Bethor on summon does the popping, which is fantastic. But on top of that, it also says when your opponent targets a card, while it's on the field, you can place a ritual onto the bottom of the deck to negate the activation. So, solid on-field effect as well, so we're playing 3 of that. We're also playing the 3 Benten, as I mentioned earlier, and 3 Chalice Slime, which reveals itself, discards a card, and then special summons an incantation, which is great, because mostly it's just used for Talismandra. Pretty simple. So, yeah, for the most part, that's what you're doing. However, notably, Talismandra, you can only use 1 of its effects per turn, so it does have a similar effect to Pensaplume, but you kind of don't want to use that, because if you do, you can't use its other effect to add a card, so keep that in mind. And the rest of the cards are just generically good cards. Well, okay, sorry. There's a few more spells and traps that we're going to talk about, but we're also playing 2 apiece of the triple attack, 3 Book of Moon as ways to dodge impermanence, stuff like that. Mostly due to the fact that we don't really care about our monsters being face up as much, especially something like a Bethor. It's like once it activates its effect, you can flip it face down and then play around Imperm. And it's fairly decent into like a few other things. But yeah, for the most part, it's not that big of a deal. Then 2 Called By. Called By is great. As for the rest of the cards, we are playing one Portal, which adds a card back as on Ritual Summon for the first Ritual Summon per turn, and it protects your monsters from damage or from battle once per turn, which is great. So yeah, first time they would be destroyed by battle, they're not. We have not Promotion. That's the wrong one. Sorry. Emergency or Emergence, which targets a Megalith in the grave and special summons it in defense. And then it goes back to the bottom of the deck. This is actually important, being able to place it back into the bottom of the deck. Very important, very nice. Then we are also running 3 Unformed, which Ritual Summons from deck. However, you have to use twice the amount of levels that you normally would. And that's pretty much it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, and here we are going second with a fairly good hand. We have a way to Ritual Summon, and we have Ben 10, as well as Talismandra, which isn't great, but it's fine. So, we also have Chalice Slime, which is also great. My opponent's going to reveal that they are on the Bestial, like, adventure stuff, which is fine. They don't have Griffin, so I'm not really too concerned. However, we do have Aeratron, so at this point we could activate the Aeratron to potentially summon on our opponent's turn. They grab up the Illegal Knight, and I'm like, hey, that's A-okay. They pitch the, the Salvation, and, yep, it's Horus, baby. That's what you've been waiting for. That's what we've all been waiting for. Anyway, they grab the Imseti here. They're going to activate the effect of the Imseti, pitching the Draco back in order to equip it as well. And then they're also going to chain the Illegal Knight, which is kind of complicated. Here they go for the King Sark. They activate it. Them actually activating here may have been what doomed them, because if they kept it in hand, I think they probably still have plays on the following turn, but you'll see. Anyway, they're going to summon out their whole board with the Dua and the Happy and all of that jazz. And they attempt to go to the end phase. I'm like, okay, let me activate the Aeratron here. Aeratron is only during the main phase, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, we're going to go here into the Ophiel from hand, as well as triggering the Ben 10. So Ben 10 is going to search another Ben 10. And then we're going to search Haggith here, which may seem a little strange, but because we have the Chalice Slime, I'm feeling okay. Anyway, here we go to the draw phase, and we're going to draw into Pentaplume, which is okay. We're just going to reveal the Chalice Slime, and then special summon out the Talismandra, and out comes the Bethor. Here we're going to summon out the Candle, which I was originally playing. Honestly, I cut this pretty quickly, mostly due to the fact that its in-hand effect requires you to reveal a spell, and I just was drawing it way too much. So I was just like, okay, I'll just cut it. It's not really worth the incantation. Inception, which ends up being pretty useful here, but it's not really that big a deal. We're going to go for the Haggith here and activate its effect and search out the portal. And we're going to activate the portal effect. They still have the Illegal Knight, so I would imagine they use it here. They actually put the Pentaplume back in hand, which is kind of funny, but not really that big a deal. We're going to go for the Haggith summon here off of the Bethor that we searched earlier. And we're going to go Haggith 1, Chainlink 2 Portal, grab back the Aeratron, and grab the Unformed. Now we still have the ability to use the Aeratron, which is pretty nice. Anyway, the incantation actually puts itself back into the hand so we can use it again, which is pretty nice, but we're going to tribute off a guy in order to go for the Ophiel. Ophiel is going to search out full, and then we're going to activate the full, we're going to activate the Ophiel, and just go from there. We also know that they have a Bestial in hand, which is the only thing that they have left here, which doesn't really matter. We're going to go for the full here. We're going to tribute 2 in order to go into Phaleg from a deck, which may seem strange, but I'm not going to lie. I forgot how Bethor worked. I forgot Bethor specifically targeted. Because if I had known that it targeted the cards in order to destroy them, it would be much better. I would just summon the Bethor, nuke the field, and we'd be fine. But I was like, oh, this like protects from targeting, so I'm going to attempt to go to like combat here and force out the King Sark so that I can like pop and then they get less. I also even attacked into the wrong thing. I should have attacked into the Happy. Not really that big of a deal. I just tribute here in order to go for the Bethor off of the Haggith here, and then we just nuke the entire field. And then we set one and pass. My opponent goes for the Magamut, but it doesn't really matter at this point. They're just dead. They go for the Druid Swarm as well. They're going to activate the Druid Swarm. They're going to banish the Chalice Slime, and oh no, my monsters now only have 4,000 attack and defense. So yeah, not really that big of a deal. They immediately go for this guy. They're going to activate the effects targeting the Phaleg, and I'm like, that's A-okay. I'm just going to tribute it off with the full effect and go for Bethor, nuking the field once again. My opponent just concedes after this. Yeah, turns out board wiping the opponent is pretty good. Alright, now here we are going first, but they actually chose to go second, which is kind of strange. But hopefully we can do something here. Once again, we drew the Talismandra. You hate to see it. But we did draw the Pensaplume as well, so we're going to summon the Talismandra from deck, and then search out Aerodron. Aerodron just happens to be like the best ritual spell, basically. So that's what we're doing. We're going to summon out the Haggith here, and we're going to Chainlink 1 Haggith, Chainlink 2 Portal, grab back the Aerodron, and yeah, go from there. We're going to grab the Unformed here. We're going to activate the effect of the Unformed, tributing off our guy in order to go for the Ophiel, and Ophiel effect is going to activate searching out the full. This is generally what you want to do, right? Using the Ophiel to search full. So we're going to go for the full off of the Haggith, and then add back the Aerodron off of the full effect, and then go full into Haggith once again. Or sorry, I go Ophiel here to grab up the Haggith, and then we go for the Ophiel into Haggith. Just kind of like cycling resources, which is nice. We don't necessarily even want to draw these, so it's also not bad to like do this way. Anyway, we search out the Unformed here, which may seem a little strange, but given the fact that they wanted me to go first, I'm like, they probably have some sort of back row removal, so I grabbed the Unformed as opposed to Emergence. Emergence also wouldn't have been very good here. The other thing, it's likely Yugioh. That's what I'm thinking as well, because Yugioh tends to want to go second, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay, it's Yugioh, it's back row removal, I'm going to grab Unformed as opposed to Emergence. Though Emergence is generally better. They're going to go for the Cosmic Cyclone, banishing my Book of Moon, Tragic. They're going to go for Cosmic Cyclone 2, Electric Blue. I'm going to go for the Unformed. Unformed here is probably best to just tribute to go for full. Reason being, it gives us Portal, it gives us full to grab back a guy, and then we still have Aerodron live. So there's that. And then if they deal with one full, we can use the second to kind of go from there. So we're going to add back the Haggith and the Ophiel, which is pretty nice now. Aerodron is live, but it's not really going to do anything. Out comes the Samsara D Lotus, and I'm like, that's A-okay. They're also going to grab up the Dark Beckoning Beast. They're going to normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast, grab Opening, and they're going to activate the effect in order to go for Samsara D Lotus. Now, immediately here, I decided I'm not going to really risk much here. Samsara is kind of like their only real play. And if they drew Nightmare Pain, then they're just great. But other than that, I'm just going to pop 2 here with the Bethor and pass. Now, I only have the 2 ritual monsters in grave because of the full and Portal. So maybe it would have been a little bit better to potentially activate the Aerodron there as well, just to pop 3. So that may have been a little bit smarter of me, but not really that big of a deal. They just scoop. All right, here we are once again going second. And again, a great hand. 2 ways to ritual summon, and then 2 ritual summons we want, or 2 ritual monsters we want to summon, as well as Ben 10. Great. And it's once again Yugioh. Yugel's kind of been everywhere, so hooray, what a fun event. Anyway, they're gonna go pop a guy and then just pass the turn. I'm like, hey, okay, I can beat that easily. We draw Talismandra, again, not a great draw, but it's fine. We're gonna go for the Phaleg, it gets called by. Called by, such a fun, fair, and balanced card. Don't you love it? Anyway, that's fine. We'll just activate the Bethor, attributing the Ben 10 and going for the Ophiel. I put the Ophiel in attack position mostly for the Phantom, or for the Nightmare Pain, just in case. So that's the main purpose there. It's not going to stay on the fields, and I know that, so it's whatever. We're going to summon out the Haggith here and search out the Portal. We have full, we have Portal, we have Ben 10. So I'm feeling pretty good. So we're going to tribute in order to go for the full. We're going to activate the full effect and grab back the Bethor, as well as grabbing back the Haggith off of the Portal effect. So now, again, pretty decent. We tribute once again the Ben 10 to grab Ophiel this time. Ophiel is going to search as well, and we're going to once again chain block in order to grab the Ben 10. So now you have the Aerodron in hand, which we haven't used, so we're going to activate the Aerodron, tributing off our card on field in order to go for the Bethor from hand. We're gonna pop the 2 back row as well as the Bestial, because I'm not gonna do anything against this Phantom of or this Spirit of Yugioh. So there's that. I should have put the full in defense position. It was kind of I didn't know whether I was going to be able to get to a position where like putting that in defense would have been good, but yeah, this is kind of just a mistake now. They go for the second Spirit of Yugioh, and I'm like, okay. Out comes the Nightmare Pain, and I'm like, okay, most of the time people are only running 2 Nightmare Pain, so I'm like, I feel comfortable just like popping that. Once again, I put the Bethor in attack position just in case they have that 3rd Phantom or Nightmare Pain. So there's that. They attack in and just pass. I do take the 2,000 damage, which sucks, but that's fine. They attempted to go to the end phase, so I activate the Aerodron in the main phase to still get the Haggith effect, so that we can Haggith and search out the Unformed on this turn, and then still keep some of our other cards alive. So there's that. We just draw Emergence, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. We're going to go to the main phase and then activate the Emergence to grab up the full here. We're going to activate full, grab back the Aeratron, as well as grab back with our portal, the Bethor. Now, notably, one thing that I haven't mentioned up until this point, Unformed specifically needs exactly twice the level, so I couldn't have used Ben 10 there to summon full, just in case you were wondering. It does need exactly a 4, an 8, or a 16 level, basically. Anyway, we go for the full here, attributing the Ben 10 to grab Ophiel. I don't search here because I'm not yet playing Manju. Don't know why I did that. Anyway, you could also play Lancia. Lancia also happens to be a light fairy. I don't know how much it'd be useful, but like, I guess your cards wouldn't be Cold Bide, which could be useful, but I think for the most part it's not really that big of a deal. Anyway, we go Ophiel, grab the quick play, and then just set 2 and pass. Now, why didn't we try and like Bethor them? Well, because it turns out like I don't want to summon anything. It'd just be bad, so we're just gonna not. Just kind of holding off here is actually the best play. They go to the end phase, that's fine. I go for the Emergence here. We're going to activate its effect in order to grab back the Ophiel, which then allows us to return the Bethor to our hand. Here we then can go for the Emergence, the Unformed, tribute a whole bunch of guys in order to get an 8 from the deck, which goes for the Bethor. It's from hand, which goes for the Bethor. They're going to send away the Bethor. Now, notably, Bethor doesn't do anything after it's hit the field. So them sending away the Bethor is totally fine. They should have hit the full. Not that it would have really mattered, because full could just... We could have just brought it back with the Emergence, and we already have the other one, so it makes sense, but it also doesn't. Also, why are there 2 Yubels? Couldn't tell you. But apparently Bro is playing 2 Yubels, which is very funny, so there's that. They're going to tribute during the end phase, and then Samsara D. Lotus is going to hit the field as well, so a little annoying, but honestly not that big of a deal. We draw Chalice Slime here, and I'm just going to immediately fire that, and they take the bait. So I'm like, hey, okay. I'm actually going to special summon the Haggith here just immediately. We're going to go for the portal here, grabbing back our Bethor once again, and out comes the Terra Incarnate. I'm like, that's totally fine. We're going to put back the Haggith that we summoned off of Emergence to go for the Ophiel. Ophiel is going to search back that Haggith that we put back onto the bottom of the deck off of Emergence. Now we can go for that Haggith effect again, searching out the 3rd Unformed, I believe, and activate it in order to summon out the Bethor. So we're going to activate the Bethor effect, and we're going to pop. They go summon out the Ultimate Nightmare, and I'm like, yeah, of course. So we just set 1 and pass. Not really too worried about this. They attempt to go to the to the battle phase, and we're just going to add back the Chalice Slime here off of the Ophiel summon. Then we're once again going to tribute with full. I was thinking like, oh, I could do like Phaleg, special summon, and then like do some other thing. I just go for the Bethor from hand. Yes, it would have been nice to like summon from deck. It's fine. Just summon from hand. It's fine. Just pop this guy. It's not really that big of a deal. They normal summon the Samsara and then just concede. I would imagine what happened is they ran out of targets. Because guess what? They probably didn't have any more. All of their Yubels were in grave except for 1 Spirit of Yubel that possibly could have been in hand. So there's that. Also, Spirit of Yubel probably didn't have any targets. So understandable. Have a nice day. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is still extremely fun. Whenever I get a chance to play Megalith, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's one of my favorite decks. It's also incredibly cheap, something I didn't mention. But yeah, technically speaking, you don't need Ben 10. Technically speaking, you don't need Chalice Slime. These can be substituted with a myriad of other cards. Additional normal summons like Monjus, Senjus, etc. Ben 10 is particularly good, but you could also just play more like more Megaliths, right? Auk is in here. You could play the additional Phaleg. There are definitely additional options that you can go for that wouldn't really change much. Just taking out these SRs. You do really want the Aeratron. That is something that you do want. So spending the like 90 SR dust. Hopefully that's not too big of a deal. But like, yeah, this deck's incredibly cheap and also very fun. So, if you want to play a fun deck that's also incredibly cheap and also comes up quite often in events, consider playing this one. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, likes very much. I appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.